Welcome back to Genshin. So, we're about to figure out what we're going to do. There we go. We want to do our conquest because we want to get to Fontaine. We're almost there. And I think if we do this one, it will lead to that quest. No, actually, I'm completely wrong. This is what we want to do. And we need to do Acer Palmatum, which means that's what we're going to do. Of course, I have to find that quest. It's Acer Palmatum chapter act 1. Which is not a thing. Ooh, actually it might be one of these. Because I forget there's actually several little titles. Doesn't look like it. Let's go back up and look through them one more time. Unicorns, history, Monoclepty, interlude, chapter 3, act. Let me look it up, of course. Because I don't want to go through every single quest looking specifically for Acer Palmatum. So it's Katehara Kazuha's friend quest. So let me. Oh, I exited that story quest. Find him. Act 1, Reflections of Immortality. So this. And we'll see if this gets us to where we need to be to do the quest we need. I was gonna just take this simple and go one at a time, do everything. But I really want to do the Fontaine story quest. And so, because I don't want to really dig my claws into Fontaine and just do all of Fontaine until I've really gotten the story quest opened up. because I want to do the story quest before I get there, like I did for everywhere else. And I've
If
been
the
really
Tenryou
struggling
Commission
holding
won't
back,
assist in
but
dealing with the thunderstorm, the consequences could be catastrophic.
let's push forward and try and get there as quickly as possible.
It's not that we're unwilling to do our part. We just don't have any spare hands right now. I hope you can understand.
Exactly. So let's keep the discussion going and see if we can find a solution.
Hey, Toma! What's going on?
Ah, hello you two. We were just talking about what an impact you've made in Inazuma.
Greetings. Thank you both again for delivering Miss Hiragi's letter that time.
Ah, so they're friends of yours. I'm Master Kamaji's servant. Call me Ippei.
Well, the Tri-Commission's work used to consist of gathering information for the Shogun and carrying out any duties she assigned. But recently, she announced that she wishes to spend some time in solitude and self-reflection. Since she is refusing to receive any visitors, there is no one to tell us what to do. We all understand if the Shogun needs some quiet time to gather her thoughts. The only problem is, in the meantime, the thunderstorm out at sea has been getting wilder. Yep, that's the one. And all the time it's been there, the storm has never changed in shape or size. But now, it seems to be drawing closer to Inazuma.
Oh, are we gonna get to do the quest to get rid of the lightning on the
She
island?
wants to destroy Inazuma now? Or is this her way of trying to get revenge on us? Nuh-uh! She lost to us. Paimon's not scared. Why would Paimon be scared? Paimon's just, a little concerned that she might be angry. Yeah, that's all. Just a little concerned.
I don't think you need to worry about that. The reason we're concerned is that we've never known the almighty Shogun's will to falter before.
Considering Liyue's god left not too long ago, it's hard not to take it as a bad sign. A lot of people now believe that the thunderstorm is getting wilder because the almighty Shogun is having health problems. The fact that she won't see anyone right now makes us concerned that things are only going to get worse.
That seems like a valid
Right.
concern.
So,
Yeah, I
before
agree.
rumors start spreading, Miss Kamisato got me to come here and discuss countermeasures with the Tenryou Commission. We need to make sure we're prepared to deal with the chaos if and when it arrives.
Unfortunately, the reality is that
Always
the
be
Tenryou
prepared.
Commission is facing huge internal instability at the moment. The Kujo clan has lost control over the other clans.
Well, yeah, they kind of,
Why is that?
you know,
The Kujo clan is still
Committed.
awaiting the Shogun's trial for colluding with the Fatui and nearly destroying the whole of Inazuma.
yeah.
Everyone knows that a change of commissioner is inevitable. It's just a matter of time before the almighty Shogun hands down her decree.
To put it simply, no one will take orders from the Kujo clan anymore. But there's still work that has to be done.
If Mr. Takayuki was in better health, there might be a way through. But now?
My lack of ability is to blame. I failed to uncover the truth in time, and I failed to stop my father. And now, as acting head of the clan, I'm failing to quell the unrest.
Don't blame yourself, Master. You have to at least keep your chin up until your older brother returns. The Kujo clan can't cope with any more instability in its current state.
Yes, you're right. Masahito has enough on his plate at the moment. Mustn't cause any more issues for him. Okay, Toma, let's revisit this discussion in a few days. Right now, I need to go visit Takatsukasa.
He's got a lot of issues on his
head of the
plate.
Takatsukasa clan. He's the only one capable of taking charge of the situation now.
I suppose. Well, okay, no problem. A speedy resolution to the Tenryou Commission's internal issues is in our best interest as well.
I'll come with you, Master.
No need. I'll handle this by myself.
Oh, okay. Take care then. Come back soon.
If you think about it, both the thunderstorm situation and the issue with the Tenryou Commission, if things carry on like this, people will
Oh, hush, Paimon.
You can actually do that?
don't know for sure. But we may as well try. Whether she takes us up on the offer or not will depend on what mood she's in.
Sounds like you guys know what to do. Shall I leave it up to you then? You know, everyone's worrying about the Shogun's condition, but if people got to see her in person, it would put their fears to rest. Thank you very much. I owe you one, again.
The way Paimon sees it, there's only one person who might have the chance to see the Shogun while she's isolating, right? Let's take a trip to the Grand Narukami.
Yeah, yay, Miku. Because it's the only person she cares about. Everybody else can go fuck themselves. The little fox girl walks in and she's like, oh, you got my attention.
I wasn't expecting to receive VIP shrine visitors during downtime. So I suppose you're here just to visit me? How cold. I saved your skin, didn't I? Surely you could at least humor me by engaging in some small talk first? Then again, I suppose your frankness is part of your charm. So
Yes,
tell
yes
me,
it is.
what is the matter?
We heard the Shogun decided to take a break, and since then the thunderstorm around Inazuma has gotten wilder. Rumor has it that the thunderstorm is affected by the Shogun's will.
Hush, Paimon.
All right. There's little purpose in keeping anything hidden from you anyway. Since the battle, the Shogun has been greatly troubled and her temperament has changed drastically.
What?
Yeah,
Her
that is
power
hard
was
to believe, I
already on
agree.
the decline. Then you dealt her that fateful strike. The defeat was a heavy blow to her. It also didn't help that I forgot to bring her some tricolor dango and light novels when I went to see her. Oh, the poor thing. Without desserts and books to console herself with, she was so angry she quite simply lost it. Crying and ranting and raving. Oh, I could hardly bear to see her that
That's
way.
hard to believe.
You expect us to believe that a god would throw a temper tantrum over something like that?
Only because we've met some of the other ones. It's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Before you get too indignant, consider the fact that your concerns sound every bit as nonsensical to me as that blatant lie did to you. A seeks eternity. To her, mortal lives come and go in the blink of an eye. Of what consequence to her are mortal concerns for her well-being?
You're saying she's fine, right?
I don't know the details. She said she wanted to rest, and I have nothing pressing that requires her attention, so there is no reason to disturb her. I have heard about the thunderstorm, though. As to the cause, it is not inconceivable that, as you suggest, her will has wavered somewhat.
Maybe she's gone stir crazy. Yeah,
I am the
maybe.
only one in all of Inazuma who can visit her
Little-
while she is resting. But tell me, why should this concern me? Why should I do this for you, when I already have everything one could ever want, and have seen everything one could ever wish to see?
Do it for her.
I like that answer.
It's not a
Here
good
is the
answer,
pass
but
permit.
sure.
Show it to the Okuzumeshu at the gate, and he will let you in.
Thanks, Miko.
My question was in jest, but since you answered it in earnest, please stay true to your word. Oh, and don't forget to return the pass permit to me after you have finished with it.
Let's keep it. Ooh, that got me intertwined fades. How nice, how nice. I've been throwing any blue wishes I get at this banner. A, to build up pity, and if I accidentally go over, it's not too big a deal. But I need to save up Primo Gems, and getting Stardust is also important for when the 5 of these come back into here. So it's kind of like a... It's risky, but it's worth the risk, if that makes sense. It could cause me great distress and be unable to get the boy, but I need to try.
The Almighty Shogun has requested solitude. No visitors allowed.
Oh, we've got a pass permit from Miko.
Don't be ridiculous. Lady Guji never gives her pass permit to another person, not even esteemed travelers like yourselves. Guji Ai is only authorized to hold that pass permit because of the trust that the Almighty Shogun places in her, and her alone. Wait, this is authentic. Understood. Then as the Shogun has ordered, I must not stand in your way. Apologies. Please proceed. Since the Shogun is resting at this time, please be especially respectful and make sure your behavior is impeccable.
Guy's kind of an ass. He doesn't even check first. And then when he does check, he's instantly like, oh yeah, you're right. Which meaning he could have just checked first and not been an ass.
Look how she's pacing back and forth. Don't you think she...
How did you get in? Trespassers are to be eliminated at once.
Wait, no, it's us! Why are you treating us like we're your enemies? We made amends, didn't we? Also, we got in by totally legitimate means!
Denied. Use of force has been forbidden. Anyway, be gone. Do not disturb my solitude. That is of no concern. This is my recuperation state.
What do you make of this? She's acting strange, huh?
This body has no need of rest. But I am an assistant to the one within. If she wishes to rest, I must follow her will.
Paimon gets it. So this is all A's doing. But why? Surely you going about your business doesn't interfere with the plane of euthymia. She's got plenty of space in there. Seems like it would be the perfect place for rest and relaxation.
I do as she wishes. I can say no more than this. I cannot. In my current state, even if I went out, I could do nothing. I am currently unwilling to deal with any business. I am also incapable of it.
What do you mean by that?
It has been forbidden. Please refrain from making me
Forbidden
talk
this,
any
forbidden
further.
that. Everything's forbidden.
What should we do? It feels like this conversation...
Ah, it's you two. It's been a while. The Shogun can't do much at the moment. Come straight in and see me.
Ah, so she just let us in. So we totally could. Okay, whatever.
That was terrifying! Would it be so hard to give us a little warning first?
It's not your first time. I don't see what there is to be so alarmed about.
So...
Well, I mean, the last time we were here,
Are you gonna get it fixed, or...
we did try to kill each other, so maybe a little warning before taking us into the
Don't worry. The Shogun's
that kind
not
of place.
open. I've just temporarily disabled many of her functions. Currently, the Shogun is unable to handle any business and cannot appear as me. So the easiest solution was to announce that I am resting. As I said, I need to think about Inazuma's eternity, and thinking takes time. But the Shogun is still running based on her old rules. I can't allow her to make any mistakes while I am working things out.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Shut up,
No.
Paimon.
She was not created to ever be turned off. Furthermore, I had even predicted at the time that I may wish to modify the Shogun's operational rules at some point in the future. However, such changes would not be conducive to eternity. That's why the Shogun has a robust system to safeguard against modification. It's also to protect against unforeseen circumstances. For now, while I figure out the form that eternity should take, it's more effective for me to temporarily disable some of the puppet's functions, rather than attempt to modify her rules.
Okay, so, So what you're telling me is you made a robot to do a task. And then you said, I don't ever want to have anyone mess with it because eternity, nothing changes, and so this can't change either. So even though I'm going to I might want to implement changes later, I'm not going to, and I'm going to make it hard for me to do so. But you realize, like, a standard thing is just... How do I put this? What if it didn't function how you wanted? What if instead of preserving eternity, it, like, just killed folks for no reason? Then you'd be stuck in the same situation where you couldn't preserve eternity because you have to take a while to modify her rule set or whatever. It's dumb. It's I mean, you can protect it from like influence that's not your own, right? Without completely making it impossible to fuck with. At least until you have it set in a way that you're satisfied with. I don't know.
Gets it now.
It's kind of dumb.
Thunderstorm.
The thunderstorm is getting out of control? This is the first I've heard of it.
Huh? Okay, well, let us bring you up to speed.
I see. So the thunderstorm is drawing closer.
You can fix it, right?
It's just a minor error. This kind of thing was bound to happen. A small modification to the Shogun should fix it. Don't look at me like that. I've never had to tinker with the Shogun before, and she's very complicated. It's practically inevitable for something to go wrong when you start tweaking things. Yes, that's it. I'm not making excuses. It's the truth.
Sure, sure.
Just as long as you can fix
Touch Paimon.
Not much. As before, I can see the way forward, yet there are still contradictions. But there is no urgency. To reach an ill-conceived verdict in haste, just for the sake of having reached one, would be a confusion of priorities.
If everyone sees that the end, who knows?
You mean, leave the plane of Euthymia? Yes, you're right. After all, the Shogun is currently unable to take care of business on my behalf.
So you must
All
take
right,
care of
then.
business on your
I'll
own
come out
behalf.
for a while.
You know, like a ruler.
Since the theme of the day
Because
is
you're
a
supposed
change
to
of
be their
pace,
ruler.
you can just call me A. I'm not a great fan of rigid titles.
What? But you're just A's consciousness, aren't you? Can consciousness actually leave this?
She's not the
I
consciousness,
have my
Paimon.
ways. I would never subject
Likes
myself
you.
to imprisonment voluntarily.
Oh, great! Then there's nothing to worry about. Allow us to be your tour guide.
Wait, why did they
Tour
pass that
guides?
off? Like we know
What's
what
a
the
tour
fuck they're
guide?
talking about. Isn't she just like physically inside the plane? I guess not. Then what happened to her body? Because I don't know that story. And why is she inside a robot, and how did she make the robot for her before she became a mind? I don't understand what's going on. They're kind of like glossing over stuff that hasn't been explained. Maybe I'm supposed to not play this part yet, but it's like just something that was free to do. And they very much love putting stuff behind you can't play this until you do this mission type walls. So I feel like they would have explained it somewhere else.
Someone to show you around the Inazuma of today and give you tips on where to eat and how.
Hush, Paimon.
There's a familiarity to the scent in the air and the firmness beneath my feet. Now, time for a change of pace. Where should we go?
To the liveliest place.
What were you saying, Pema? Nothing? That's what I thought so.
Is this the marketplace? It's a far cry from how I remember it. The stores have changed, and so have the vendors. Well, that's to be expected.
It's the Shogun! What is the almighty Shogun doing here?
Isn't the Shogun sick? This is quite sudden.
I appear to have frightened the people.
Well, what did you expect? The almighty Shogun makes an impromptu appearance in town? People are gonna freak out a bit.
Patrolling the streets is the Tenryou Commission's job. The Shogun has a lot of information to process and orders to give out. She doesn't have time to deal with it herself. Additionally, the Shogun has no need of recreation. There would be no need for her to come here just to pass the time or to relax.
So, what do we do now? Should we go away for a while and make a more low-profile return later?
Why? It's not like I'm here to cause trouble. Let's just relax.
It was more the ordinary people that Paimon was worried about. Never mind. This definitely seems like your style, eh?
That didn't make
People
much
still
sense,
use Nora in
Paimon.
commercial transactions,
But
I
essentially, the point of this was so that people saw her, so what would be the point of coming back later, low profile, so they didn't notice
Wait a
her?
second. Hey,
Be
are you
counterproductive.
saying you don't have any more either?
Of course I don't. There is no need for commerce in the plane of Euthymia. If I ever need something,
Why are
I
all
can
of them
simply have one
poor?
of the commissions bring it to me. Wait, what do you mean, either? Anyway, people seem to be behaving in a very orderly fashion. I don't see the liveliness you spoke of anywhere.
People aren't exactly gonna let their hair down in front of the almighty Shogun.
What is this stall selling? I
And
don't
I
believe
mean-
I've ever seen this before.
How do I put this? Just because you're not...
What's the Shogun doing here? What am I supposed to do in this situation? I'm so nervous.
Just because you're not, like, partying doesn't mean you're not having a ball. If that makes sense?
Shogun, excuse me.
It's all right. Relax. I'm just here to look
Especially
around.
when you use the word lively.
Having a
People
change of
going
pace
about their
today.
normal days
Could
can
you
still
tell me
be
about the items you're selling?
considered lively.
Of course. I've got all kinds of snacks here. Takoyaki, dango, and milk, and so on.
Huh? Milk? Sounds kind of like the odd one out.
It might sound odd, but it is in fact my specialty. You see, many of the stores in town are already very well established. I couldn't compete with them no matter what I sell. So my idea was to create some new combinations to give customers a novel experience. For example, my latest concoction is this dango milk. When the dango are worked into a viscous form, they mix very nicely with the milk. The focus is not just the taste, but also the unique texture.
Ah, dango with milk. I've never heard of it. What made you want to do this?
I'm sorry, Shogun. I've got no bone to pick with eternity.
It's weird.
I said relax.
That would have the
There's
opposite
no
effect
need
on
to
me.
go treading on eggshells. Do you really think
I
the ability
absolutely
I pursue is something
hate
that can be shaken by dango and milk?
Strange and weird textures. They just feel wrong and off and disgusting. That makes sense? It's not like it's bad. And sometimes it's really nice, but I wouldn't try something with a strange texture if I knew it had a strange texture. Just because the chance that it's gonna be awful, like people who leave coconut shavings in their milk. It's just gross. That kind of thing. Or like the texture of tomatoes is revolting to me. There's a lot of textures that I just don't deal with because fuck that. You know? So something selling point being its texture is unique is just gonna make me avoid it. But I know a lot of people go for stuff like that because they're unique and they're like unique stuff and unique is unique and unique. Everybody's got to try something that's different.
Huh. Why do I feel like she's different than I expected? Actually, it came to me by chance. A friend was catering once and made too many dango, so they gave some to me. But there were more than I had use for. My milk wasn't selling well at that time either, and both dango and milk have a short shelf life. So I thought I'd try mixing the two as I had nothing to lose. To my surprise, in the right proportion, it tasted superb.
A chance combination. Interesting. May I try this drink?
The almighty Shogun wants to try? Well, certainly. And you two should try it too.
Nice. It's sweet. The sensation is not so different from eating a dessert. A unique beverage indeed.
Yeah, it's definitely a drink, but it also feels like eating food.
It's a little bit like porridge? But the resemblance is only superficial.
So yeah, it feels like vomit in your mouth is what I'm hearing. It's part of the reason I don't like oatmeal. It just feels like vomit in your mouth. It's one thing if they mean like a consistency like soft ice cream. It's another when they're saying stuff like porridge, because that's just gonna feel like vomit. I can't do it.
Anyway, I like it.
I'm very glad you approve.
I imagine that an item as delicious as this dango milk must sell exceptionally well, no?
Well, I won't lie to you. Sales are very average.
Huh? So it's selling slowly? Why is that?
Because most people aren't willing to give it a try. They think it's an unusual combination, even though everyone who's tried it before rates it highly. I'm not saying the almighty Shogun has unusual tastes. Please, don't take it the wrong way.
Ah, I see. Well, that can be fixed. I'll just have the Yashiro Commission order a few hundred cups and go door-to-door delivering them.
No, almighty Shogun, that's too much.
Is it? I just want them to try it. It would be a shame for them to miss out on dango milk. Of course. I've heard that most humans like desserts, so it's not unusual that I should enjoy them too. Miko agrees with me on this. There's nothing like dessert for improving one's mood. Much more enjoyable than meditating alone all the time. By the way, Miko mentioned that she founded something called the Yai Publishing House to sell some sort of light novels. She's always bragging to me about it, but it's difficult for me to really imagine without seeing the place for myself. Can you take me there?
So she does like light novels.
Let's go and have
Fuck off, Paimon. Me just hearing fucking Adventurers Guild lady just error.
Shogun! Almighty Shogun! what brings you to the Eye Publishing House? Do you have instructions for us?
No, not at all. Don't be so nervous. I'm just here to look around.
Apologies. I still don't quite understand. Are you here to look into the management? Or publishing regulations? Or fire safety measures?
She just wants to browse your books.
The Almighty Shogun wishes to read light novels?
Yes. Any recommendations?
The Eye Publishing House's novels are mostly targeted at the general public, and the content is all kinds of strange. I'm not sure we have anything quite to the Almighty Shogun's taste.
I'm just here to try something new. There's no fun in reading the same kind of thing over and over again. Relax. It's just words on a page, isn't it? What could I misunderstand, really?
In principle, you're absolutely right. It's just...
It'll be fine. If there's anything the Shogun doesn't understand, we'll explain it to her.
Well... okay then. Please proceed to the bookshelf over there. It has all the latest bestsellers. There are some winning entries from the This Novel is Amazing competition. I've just finished compiling them into a saleable form. Don't take them too seriously. It's all just a bit of fun.
Y'all are geniuses at coming up with names, you know that? It won the This Book is Amazing competition. The fuck is that? The fuck is that?
Let's go then. Huh. How can this be? Did I underestimate the caliber of this material? I know every individual word in these books' titles, so why is it that they make no sense to me in these particular combinations? Take this one, for example. The good thing about being reincarnated as a Hilichurl is that I only need to eat Sunsetias to become stronger. It's so long. Is it true that Hilichurls
I'd be
grow
down to
stronger
read
from
that.
eating Sunsetias? Well, surely it should be some sort of meat, at least.
It's just a narrative device.
Narrative device. So it's made up? What's the point of that? Without being grounded in reality, how can the story be believable?
It's not meant to be believable.
Also, I'm very
If it's good
certain
enough,
that
it'll
Hilichurls can't write stories.
drag
So,
you in.
Does this author claim to be documenting Hilichurl life from an outside perspective, perhaps?
Paimon's starting to understand Kuroda's reservations right about now. How about we choose for you?
All right, then. I believe myself to be relatively well-read, but with stories like these, I don't even know where to start. I have high hopes, though. This seems like Miko's style, so I'm sure the stories are very entertaining.
All right, leave it to us. We'll be back in a jiffy. This could be a pretty tough job. Let's see what we're up against. This is Paimon only skimmed through, but Paimon can tell this girl has loved the main character with all her heart since childhood. Right! Yeah, the plot is really gripping.
Not really.
What a strange person. Why would someone like that could easily become the top martial arts pro in the world?
That's not the point, Paimon, you fucking buffoon. And again, at least this one's premise isn't as bad. It would depend on how well it's written. But honestly, it's not easy to write fighting. Like, it's one thing if it's manga or anime or a TV show or cartoon or whatever. It's another when it's an actual novel or book. Because you can't use words the person intended to read will not understand. And so with a book about a character who wants to write but ends up in fights, there's 3 different type of people you have to take into account. People who like writing, people who like fighting, and people who just like reading books with funny plots or ridiculous plots. And so you have to get a certain level of technical with the writers or they're just gonna fuck off, which most of the time in a story plot like that, they don't actually care about the novel part. They'll just ignore it completely and just be like, yeah, sometimes they write real good. And so that gets ignored. And what they concentrate on is the fighting. But because they don't know anything about fighting, or they know arbitrary stuff that doesn't actually mean anything to anyone, they can't get deep enough in the fighting. And on top of that, they don't have a good way to explain what their characters are doing, so it ends up coming across as big fight happen. People go boom, bra bra, pow pow pow. And it's not compelling fighting. And that's mostly because what they try to concentrate on is the story. Which, don't get me wrong, I've read some manga where they still didn't quite understand what fighting was. But it was compelling both on the fighting front and... I said manga, I meant novel, but both. It's compelling both on the fighting front and the actual story front because they kind of understand fighting. Not to a degree that would help anyone understand it better, but to a degree that what they're saying actually makes sense to a certain degree. Like, someone could kick here, rather than, like, then they did a 360 no-scope with their foot. Because they understand, like, basics. You kick. And this is what a kick should look like. And this is what a kick happens. It's how people block kicks. Or at least can. Instead of just, and then the enemy blocked it, and then they threw their own punch, and counter, and counter. It's such a bad fucking thing when people don't quite understand enough about fighting. And at that point, it based off purely off the person's writing skill. And so they could write this story well. And make the actual story itself interesting or funny, which is probably a comedy. But 9 times out of 10, they don't. They'll find an audience, a very niche audience of people who don't care enough about anything else and think that the story is good enough to carry, but it's not. 9 times out of 10, it's just not good enough. It's just some half-assed work that somebody didn't spend enough time thinking about. I've gone off on this tangent for way too long.
You do have a point, and a character so
Sure, Paimon, sure. Shogun Almighty, reborn as the Raiden with unlimited power. wakes up, discover that he has become the Raiden Shogun. Nobody who gets bullied by everyone, but becoming the Raiden Shogun, unlimited power. Appeal of this one probably lies in the euphoria of going from powerlessness to omnipotence, and the protagonist's inner journey to finally break free from their low self-esteem. Hard to see how the story would develop after the protagonist literally becomes the Raiden Shogun.
With a premise like this, it's no wonder Kuroda was nervous about letting A look around. Paimon thinks it might be best not to bring this one up with A. We might get the author in trouble.
It doesn't paint her in a bad light.
If someone turned into Paimon and did a bunch of stuff this Paimon would never do, Paimon would feel really uncomfortable. That's all of them. Let's go explore
Paimon,
A.
I'm sorry to inform you, but don't go on the internet. Paimon. Don't do it. And I ain't even talking about like that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about like in general. Like Paimon dabbing. Paimon like doing Fortnite dances. Paimon actually like making sense and doing science. You'd find all kinds of things Paimon
The
wouldn't
looks
do.
on your faces tell me you found some good stories.
Yeah, let's give it a Shogun story because it's the only one that's not.
Hey, Paimon thought we agreed not to bring that one up.
Shut up, Paimon. Fuck you. I said I was going to.
It's okay. I find it quite interesting. I didn't realize that this was how ordinary people viewed the Shogun. She would never use the Muso no Hitotachi as frivolously as she does in the pages of this book. Nor would she ever use it as a means of venting emotions. In reality, the reason for drawing her blade determines the martial form to use and the degree of power with which to imbue it. Since there is such a great deal of difference between the story and the reality, I don't feel offended at all. On the contrary, I find the author's powers of imagination quite admirable. That said, I hear that Yae Publishing House's novels are all reviewed by Miko herself, which means that the content of this book must have been approved by her. In fact, no. It may even have been her idea in the first place.
That would make sense.
So what do you think of
He's
Yae
kind of a troll.
Publishing House's light novels, eh? Do you like the stories we picked?
What I take from these stories is not so much the content itself, but what they represent in terms of the effects of time upon Inazuma. Back when I decided to isolate myself in the plain of Euthymia, there was no Yae Publishing House, and certainly no stories of this kind. In accordance with my wishes, the Shogun did her best to create an eternal nation. A nation that, in theory, should remain entirely unchanged over time. But the fact is that both the food and the stories have changed. I disagree with your point of view. That's what I would say if we were still in the plain of Euthymia. But the truth is right here in front of my eyes, and I can't deny it.
And that's exactly why we brought you out.
Shut up,
Sure,
Paimon.
it's not
Fuck off.
Yes, you're right. I'm wary of any and all change. But I do not wish for my pursuit of eternity to stop human lives from changing for the better. Thank you for inviting me out. This trip has been quite eye-opening for me. This may be an everyday occurrence for you, but for me, this trip has been quite an occasion. I've seen a lot, and it's made me think a lot. I really can't praise it highly enough. I hope I will remember it for a long time to come.
Well, maybe. Hear me out, just maybe. Rule your people. Has that thought occurred to you, Little Miss Dum Dum? Because like, you don't even have to come out all that often, but you do have to come out and actually see and know the lives of what your people are experiencing. Because if you were paying attention to the documents you got and the stuff, the paperwork, instead of just sitting there in your prissy little castle pretending like you're mightier and better than all just because you got the strongest sword, you would know that things have changed regardless. Because traces of it will be everywhere. Take, for example, the paperwork she should have. It should be all throughout all that paperwork. This has changed. That has changed. Everything has changed. If she had stepped out and looked at her people, like, even once, she would see that stuff has changed. But she didn't care about her people. She cared about her so-called eternity because it's what she wanted. Because she's a selfish asshole and not a ruler, but a dictator.
Ooh, great idea! Ace had a wonderful time, and a photo is the best way to
And essentially, what we've taught her is
Take a photo?
not to not be a dictator, but to be a better
Once
dictator.
again,
Because, oh,
I'm
that's
faced
what we
with a
like. It's
combination
a
of
good
words
dictator.
that makes absolutely no sense to me.
It's okay. Come with us. We'll find a scenic spot and show you what we mean.
Honestly, I don't even want to take a picture with her. I've gotten all riled up because she's a shitty leader.
So, what are we supposed to be doing?
We're taking a photo of you. Just leave the hard work to us. All you need to do is stand over there and strike a pose. Basically, a photo makes a visual record of you at this very moment in time, so it makes a great souvenir.
Okay, so what exactly is striking a pose? Ah, I see. So in other words, I need to do some sort of visually agreeable action in front of you, right? The more I think about it, the more embarrassing it seems. How should I pose? Help me out here. It should look good, but not too over the top. Casual. How about this? All right. Well, I'll leave the decision to you. This doesn't feel very... me. Is this okay?
Works.
Okay, let's get started.
Let's pick a good angle to record this moment from.
Yeah, we'll save that. Sure, why not?
It's a wrap! Take a look! Here's the photo we took of you.
Wow. This is astonishing. Is it some kind of magic? It seems to be another copy of me. But she doesn't seem to be able to move or talk. I thought it would turn out poorly because I felt rather rigid, but it actually looks more natural than I imagined. The pose is exactly the same, and so is the scenery in the background. I can't imagine how it's achieved.
That's what makes it so special.
Hang on. I'm still struggling to understand this. I need you to explain it again. So, the one in this photo, are you sure it isn't me? If it's not me, then why does she look exactly like me? And if she is me, then... who
You're
am
thinking
I?
about this too hard.
Okay, that's way above Paimon's head. Over to you, Traveler. Hey, that's right!
Of course I do. It was never my intention to place control of Inazuma into anybody else's hands.
So then, who does that make you, here and now?
Well, I'm still me. There is no doubt about that. My existence... I think I understand. I am me. There is only one of me. But I can exist in many different forms. It's not important what form I exist in. The Shogun, for example, is one of my forms of existence. The question of whether or not she is me is not determined by any of her components.
In that case, this picture is one of your forms of existence too.
So even I, who seeks eternity, am constantly changing my form of existence.
Lord, why is it all
Then-
always?
How can I ask Inazuma and everyone who lives here to remain unchanging? Everything I have encountered on this journey with you has been from beyond my existing sphere of knowledge. You've seen a lot of my ignorant side today. Maybe you can't tell, but all this has challenged my understanding of things.
The Vision Hunt decree could have been avoided if Yae Miku had just taken her for a fucking walk and gave her some head pats. I'm gonna fucking stab somebody.
Based on what I have seen today, I am forced to accept that Inazuma is a completely different place from the one I remember. But it would be incorrect to conclude from this that the Inazuma of today is no longer Inazuma. Both the Vision Hunt Decree and the statue of the omnipresent god were conceived as a means of bringing about eternity. But if I were really getting closer to eternity, none of this ever would have happened. Perhaps I've been holding on to everything too tightly.
Sounds to Paimon like Ace figured things out. And that means that we've done a really great job as her guides.
Master Kamaji! Master Kamaji!
Why is it getting so noisy down there? Oh, that sounded like Ippei. What could be the matter?
One thing before we continue. I've begun to realize, slowly but surely, that the Statue of the Seven is not actually statues of the Seven. That they're statues of this omnipresent god or whatever. That they're all the same statue, essentially, just with different stylized forms. Based off of essentially who of the seven rules in that area. Meaning that, like, even they assume or know that there is a god that rules everything else, essentially, in this world. Which is interesting and weird. And I'm curious to get further into what the hell that means.
Ippei, is that someone from the Tenryou Commission?
Yep, let's find out what's going on. Hey, Ippei, what's the matter?
Ah, it's you. Huh? The Almighty Shogun. You must be looking for my master, Kujo Kamaji? I am very sorry. He's not here at the moment. But if it pleases you, I will gladly deliver a message on your behalf.
It's okay. I'm not here to see him. We just heard you calling out, so we came to see what was going on.
Yes. Master Kamaji still hasn't returned from the negotiations, and I'm starting to get worried. In fairness, he does have a habit of taking long walks and coming back late. It's perfectly possible that he just found somewhere he likes and lost track of time. But for some reason, today, I'm particularly nervous.
Kujo Kamaji. A descendant of the Kujo clan, I presume.
That's right. Apologies, since the head of the clan is in poor health at the moment, and Master Masahito is rarely home, Master Kamaji is currently serving as representative of the Kujo clan.
I have heard that things are quite tumultuous with the Tenryo Commission at present. Does this have anything to do with Kujo Kamaji?
Forgive us, Almighty Shogun. The Kujo clan has failed in its duty. The Kujo clan's reputation is damaged, and its power over the Tenryo Commission is in decline. Plus you, you have yet to issue a verdict on the Commission's future. So, Master Kamaji decided to enter negotiations with the Takatsukasa clan with a view of having them take over.
Surely they would be discussing something like that at their headquarters, right? Why are you looking for them here?
Actually, they decided to hold this one elsewhere. I'm a little confused as to why, to be honest, but I didn't feel it was my place to question the higher-ups. The meeting place is in the mountains near the Grand Narukami Shrine. I believe the Takatsukasa clan have some kind of base there.
Takatsukasa. Another familiar name. They have been faithfully serving the Kujo clan all these years?
Yes, that's why Master Kamaji decided to discuss things with them. I understand they must have had a lot of ground to cover, but still, there's no way it should have gone on this long. I've searched all over the city. If he really hasn't returned yet, then... Yeah, I thought of that possibility too. But someone of my rank can't just go venturing into Takatsukasa clan territory. No need. I'm probably just overthinking things. I'm only a lowly servant. But Master, I'm not as smart as Master, so I can't really share his burdens. But...
Let's go see what's happening. With me present, they are unlikely to blame you, even if we do happen to interrupt the negotiation. Besides, this has only come about because I failed to make a timely decision. This issue started with me, and I shall be the one to finish it.
Thank you so much, Shogun. I'll keep looking around.
Sometimes I don't like
too.
the responses you give, like they're
Let me
just
mark out
there
the
for you to
location
say
of the base
something
for you.
or to have
I
input.
hope everything goes smoothly.
Like they have a quota for how much dialogue can go by without your character saying something or something like that, because like there was no point in that dialogue right there. Like, what kind of options are that's commitment and awesome for her doing something that doesn't take commitment and isn't awesome? You know what I mean? Oop, beetle. I need a shit ton of those. Hey, what are you doing here? Sorry, I gotta do this real quick. Ooh, beetle. I'll get up there. Here? It doesn't like climbing this vine for some reason. No, press F. There you go.
Here you go.
Now we can go back. Motherfucker. Pretty soon I'm gonna spend some time and just wander around. Of course, I want to open Fontaine first. I want to do its story. Maybe not all the way through, but at least start it and get it working. But I've already talked about that. Not you. For now,
I applied for vacation. You remember too, right?
we're gonna go with Layla just because she's useful.
Whoa! Look at how well hidden this place is.
I can't think of a reason anyone would want to build a structure like this deep in the mountains. I feel something that doesn't belong here. I sense danger.
Ooh.
We should proceed with caution. The Kujo clan descendant may well be in trouble.
Well, that took a turn for the dangerous real quick.
Right here.
Lucky day.
What a dreadful ending.
What the fuck? Come on. Yep. No.
The night is cold. Don't be scared.
There is no escape.
Why are there arrows constantly shooting at me? I hate this.
Shine down.
Light blade.
Oh, okay. That's actually really good. If she can do that. Oh, I actually quite like that.
Why are there roaming here? This is a Tenryou Commission base.
Something is not right. We must remove all those who stand in our way.
Does that man have a gun?
There's more.
Everybody stand back!
I'm gonna assume I saw that wrong, but I'm gonna have to look back at it.
Let's get down to business.
What the heck?
Inazuma shines eternal.
How's this? Light blade.
It's interesting. She uses a spear, but she doesn't use it like a spear. She uses it like a naginata? I guess that's pronounced. She's the only character I've seen who doesn't use her spear in that pattern. Okay, so it's probably a crossbow and I just saw it at a weird angle. Yeah, it would have been weird if that man had a gun. I'm sorry, my guy. You're just trying to stand up, but I gotta bully you.
The night is cold.
Lucky day. See no more.
Now you shall perish. Shine down.
Let's get down to business.
I actually
Illusion shattered.
quite enjoy how she plays.
Inazuma shines eternal.
There is no escape.
There's more! The fairy! Lucky day!
Teamwork is dreamwork. Off we go.
No, 3.
Stars, shine for me. My guardian.
Shine down.
A process of elimination.
Yeah, I like this effect she gives, where I can use the ability,
Plans changed.
even with like somebody else out.
Let's
Very good.
There's more!
Not now.
Adventure time.
No.
My guiding stars.
I'm going in.
To the fairy! Let's get down to business. My blade! Say no more! There's more!
Scatter.
Torn to oblivion.
I could hella build her for a support for Alhaitham. That would be dope.
There is no escape.
Of course.
Flicker.
These guys are meant to be hard unless you play as her, so
Shine down.
there's that. Just making this a little more difficult than it needs to be.
Let's light it up.
Stop it.
Come on, the night is cold.
I keep accidentally hitting 2 because buttons are fucking getting mixed up in my head.
Inazuma shines eternal. Everybody stand back.
Not now.
A process of elimination. The plans changed.
Illusion shattered.
I should take out Fiery Boy first.
Fall before me!
Well now.
Fuck off.
My guiding stars.
Sorry, I'm getting a little...
Here you are. I didn't.
Yeah, because they have stupid ass moves.
Now you shall perish. Shine down.
So they can practically just charge through regardless of what I do, and that is annoying. I'd rather they just smack me, because at least that I... come up with reasons and ways. I just... when there's 2 of them, and I can't pay attention to either of them, and they flash like that. I find it quite annoying. But why are you going back down? We're gonna beat Alhaitham Rice Buns and everybody else for that matter.
Almighty Shogun!
Shogun, what are you?
Descendant of the Takatsukasa clan. Explain what is going on here.
Oh, we're just discussing some minor issues that have cropped up in the Tenryo Commission recently. Really, it's nothing worth the Almighty Shogun worrying about.
And these minor issues warranted the secluded location and the hiring of Ronin and Kairagi to keep guard?
Well, there's been a lot of turmoil lately. It was just out of security considerations, that's all.
Silence. Descendant of the Kujo clan. Your turn.
All right. I came here intending to negotiate, but it turned out all they were interested in was a written confession from the Kujo clan.
A written confession?
Yes. A statement acknowledging every crime committed by the Kujo clan since the inception of the Vision Hunt Decree, including all the recent misconduct.
All factual statements, of course. Not a single one of them fabricated.
I can't deny that. But it also emphasizes the Takatsukasa clan's achievements throughout the document, claiming they stood steadfast all along and fought back against the crisis. These are all falsehoods.
Says who? Why, you two-faced? You're going back on everything you said.
I'm just stating the facts. I'm sure the Almighty Shogun can discern the truth. All the Takatsukasa clan is trying to do is make themselves look good, so they'll be first in line to replace the Kujo clan. Why else would you
Which is
put a false
fucked up
narrative in a
because
written confession
they were
that
gonna
puts
be
your
there
clan in a
anyway.
good light and try to make me sign it under duress?
What are you talking about? You're not under duress, we're just negotiating here. You've completely changed your tune.
I believe I now understand the situation.
Don't listen to his nonsense. I'm sure you're well aware of the major failings of the Kujo clan. Surely you, of everyone, knows. Not a single word they say can be trusted.
You are quite mistaken if you think your dispute is of any interest to me. Descendant of the Takatsukasa clan, you wish to become the new Tenryo commissioner. Do I understand this correctly?
Well, yes, of course. It's the eternal pursuit of everyone in the Tenryo Commission to offer our lives in service of the Almighty Shogun.
Then the situation is not as complicated as you seem to have made it. After all, I am the one who appoints the Tenryo commissioner. The process is quite simple. Anyone who can beat me in a duel becomes the new commissioner.
Sorry, a duel with the Almighty Shogun?
The first Tenryo commissioner demonstrated his will with the blade in his hand. That is why the title has been passed down within the Kujo clan ever since. If you want me to appoint a new clan, then naturally, there must first be a new duel.
Ain't that good with a sword?
Do you not know how to wield a blade? Or do you simply doubt your abilities on account of your advanced age and declining physical condition?
Damn.
Here you are talking about
Harsh.
offering your life, and yet you are too afraid to face my blade.
Well,
never mind. What about one of you then? Anyone who can defeat me, Takatsukasa or not, will be appointed the new Tenryo commissioner.
Well, okay, so theoretically, and ideally in this situation, if we're forced to accept it as the situation, the person who becomes the head of the Tenryo Commission is not just somebody who serves and passes on her word as law, but is also somebody who can fight back against her and say, nah, you're wrong. And so, ideally, being able to beat her in a fight is a good thing. Or at least be her equal in a fight. Because then if she is going down a path, you can at least try to fight back. And she can see you as, even if just partially, an equal. But let's be honest, that's not really what's gonna happen. You're just gonna end up being her dog who does whatever she wants. Even if it's something you know is wrong. As we saw.
Does not a single person dare to face me?
I will challenge you, Almighty Shogun.
What?
Descendant of the Kujo clan. Regrettably, even if you win against me, it cannot atone for the wrongs committed under the Kujo name.
I realize that. I don't stand a chance of winning against you anyway. I know full well that the mistakes my father made ought to spell the end of the Kujo clan's legacy in the Tenryou Commission. Even when I was executing the Vision Hunt decree, I had doubts about my father's decisions. I knew that what I was doing was wrong, but that was as far as I went. I doubted, and I ruminated. I understood the situation perfectly well, but I took no action, and I didn't save a single person.
Okay, so if I remember everything correctly, the reason they're considered wrong isn't the Vision Hunt decree. Because, that was just them doing their job. It was because they tried to take advantage of the Vision Hunt decree for their own personal gain. And for the most part, it was because they were corrupt pretty well throughout. Not just his father. And then the ones who weren't corrupt were just too weak-willed to do anything or didn't know any better. Because they were smart. They know who to give what missions and who to assign to what.
I accept the Kujo clan's decline as punishment for my deeds. I can't even say that I failed to prevent it, because in order to fail, you have to have at least tried.
To be brutally honest, for someone of your strength, there is nothing you could have done, even if you had tried.
Yes. I'm too weak. My father ignores me. My elder brother can't help me. And I even need Ippei to set me straight at times. It's the way it's always been.
What do you gotta
right here,
shit on Ippei for?
Right now in the Kujo clan's final hours, it is I who represent the clan, like my father before me.
Bro's just trying to help you to the best of his abilities. But
just as the Shogun said, a forefather of mine once showed his will with his sword. Then please, let me, Kujo Kamaji, end the story of the Kujo clan in the same way that it began.
Why are you zooming in on Paimon? I don't give a shit about Paimon.
This is patently meaningless. But I accept. Come forward.
Please make it just a fight between that guy and the Raid Shogun.
The Kujo clan's honor was forged with courage, tempered with integrity, and shines beyond life and death. Show me whether your blade can bear the weight of your name.
Ready to learn, Almighty Shogun.
She's just playing around with him. Because she could beat him pretty easily, but she also doesn't want to hurt him. Kind of thing.
Another anomaly in eternity. Nevertheless, it appears that the Kujo honor still courses through your veins. Kujo Kamaji is wounded. Descendants of the Takatsukasa clan, it is your responsibility to take care of him. You may not have the courage to challenge me, but I trust that you are capable of attending to a small matter such as this.
Yes, of course. I apologize. I'm sorry. So sorry.
I had heard that the Kujo clan is no longer fit to shoulder the work of the Tenryou Commission. The search for a successor to the role of Tenryou Commissioner is indeed a matter of great urgency. However, following this duel, I have decided to postpone the Kujo clan's punishment for the time being. In the meantime, I expect the Takatsukasa clan to continue supporting the Kujo clan as before.
As you instruct, so it shall be done. We would not dare question the almighty Shogun's will.
Finally, if you still think you can copy the Fatui strategy of providing me with deceptive information to produce flaws in my judgment, you will see me appear once again as I have done today. Only next time, my blade will show no mercy.
Understood. Thank you, almighty Shogun, for your wisdom and mercy.
Why did it have to do that goofy zoom in on her face?
I will have the Okuzumeshu continue the investigation from here. Come with me. Let's find a quiet place. There's something I want to talk about with you.
Free chest. Tasty little Primo Gems.
Whew. When it's time to deal with the situation, you're just like the Shogun. So strict.
Oh, you think so? I thought I was rather accommodating. If it had been the Shogun, she would have decapitated Kujo Kamaji without a second thought. I do believe he was prepared for that outcome. I could see it in his eyes. The Kujo clan has undergone a dramatic change from its glory days to its present decline. Kamaji is hardly a great heir to the Kujo name, but he has shown me how some things remain the same even as the world around them changes. I also have you to thank. The things we experienced out on the streets and the photo you took of me, they helped me come to this realization too.
What do you mean he's not a good heir? There's only two things you look for to decide if somebody's a good heir to any kind of throne or something, if you're trying to be serious about it. One is essentially what this game would call heart. It's a combination of intentions, willpower, and brain power. So, do you care about your country? Are you smart enough to actually help it? And do you have the willpower to push through even if you think you're going to die? While he's not ruling a country, it's similar. The second is just simply luck. Because luck is luck. Strength, I don't think applies. Not because strength doesn't help, but because anyone can get strong and weak in a matter of moments. And while, yes, if somebody with could come in and kill you, you can also prepare for that. And so you yourself don't have to be strong if you're smart enough. So calling him a bad heir without really any proof, except he kind of meets one of the conditions, just because he's not a good swordsman doesn't mean he's a bad heir. It's kind of just a dickhead assertion.
So what's for the Kujo clan? Will they get to carry on being in charge of the Tenryu Commission?
Not a chance. Even if their heir was someone who showed promise, their past mistakes cannot be erased. Still, I will give them a little more time. After all, they are not the only ones who have made mistakes. The Shogun does not make mistakes. She is incapable of doing so. But I, as A, would like to offer my apologies. I have much to contemplate in the days to come, but at least I can now see the way ahead. I think I'll leave that to the Shogun. The greatest threat to eternity is still the erosion that comes with time. As I said, the Shogun has a robust system to protect her against modification. This is because I anticipated that I myself would change over time.
I'll fucking kill you. So essentially, you learn nothing, you're changing nothing. Got it. This was a useless mission.
I've made up my mind. So I will do what needs to be done, no matter how difficult it is. This has certainly been a memorable series of events.
Absolutely. You sorted out the Tenryu Commission, and the people in the city got to see a happy and healthy Shogun. All the awful rumors will disappear in no time. If you enjoyed your trip, we should get you out again sometime.
No need. There's no place for such things in my life. Also, please stop making it sound as if I somehow need the company. Okay, I'm ready to head back now. My period of solitude will now continue, but it will not last too much longer. I will leave you humans to deal with any minor issues in the meantime.
Okay, see you next time! Considering a lot of what happened was pretty unexpected, things seem to have worked out surprisingly well in the end. The only thing left to do is return.
Yep. If there wasn't this bit right here, I would have left it on Paimon saying, "See you next time," and like cut the video there. That would have been a nice ending, but
Miko, we're back! We had a great trip!
RP.
Did you know?
We have to listen to Paimon
Well
talk
then,
more.
You'll have to tell me all about it. How amusing. The almighty Shogun goes downtown, and suddenly she's like a wide-eyed country girl trying to find her bearings in the big city. Marvelous. What a shame I didn't get to see it for myself. It's fine. She wouldn't mind. Really, she wouldn't. So, from what you were saying, it seems that she has finally begun to comprehend what form eternity should take? That's the most important outcome of this trip. To be honest, I wasn't expecting you'd make such great progress when I lent you the pass permit.
Yeah, it seems like she's not gonna force everything to stay the same way anymore.
To put it nicely, even deities indulge in wishful thinking. To put it more bluntly, there are things that even the Seven can't do when faced with something even more powerful than themselves. Take a guess. Anyway, it sounds like you had a very pleasant trip and even had the chance to see A's less formal side. Next time you wish to see her, you can come and take the pass permit from me again. She would never admit to it, but she does in fact get quite lonely.
What? But she said she doesn't need company.
Because she is a god. It's not that gods don't need the company of others, just that the idea of a god having company seems indulgent to her. But you don't belong to this world. Perhaps you are just the company she needs.
We got this to level 5. That's pretty interesting. We're still a while away from being able to see what all of this is about. And I haven't been paying attention to see if it unlocks more as we go along. But it didn't really matter. So what I need to check now is yeah, I know that bit. What I need is to go here. See if I can now do insufficient story keys. Insufficient. Okay. I was gonna say. This is what we're gonna do in the next one. Mouse is acting up. Look, mouse was acting up there for a second. Whatever, that's not really important. And I'm gonna get off, but I see a little thing right here. Is it up or down? It's gotta be down. There it is, but it looks like it's further down and maybe this way.
Here you another test subject.
Flicker.
The wrong test subject. Picked the wrong test subject.
Don't let any of it roll away now.
Damn, there's a lot of these just laying around. Oh well, more important things at hand. We need to find a way into this. Like maybe that. Or not. Is there something up here that I'm missing? Like this.
Huh.
Even then, it's not actually a thingamabob. It's just a dust. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I need some of these for a character, so I'm gonna grab these and then I'll pop off. I'm getting distracted again. It's not my intention. Okay. Stop. I'll see you later. Bye bye.